Hey, gringo, my name is Juan. I was brought down here by the Santa Blanca cartel to be your new radio station DJ in the middle of fucking nowhere in Bolivia. I'm gonna talk about cocaine, I'm gonna talk about how well it's gonna benefit your family, and how El Sueño, the big bad drug lord with loads of stupid tattoos on his face, is going to make your life just brilliant overnight. You're gonna have so many jobs, we're gonna make Bolivia great again. And yep, that is Ghost Recon fucking Wildlands radio station. Yeah. Hey everybody, it's the TheSofaSoldier. I'm back. I'm not living under a rock. I haven't become a hermit. I haven't been kidnapped or killed or anything. You know, I do still exist. There's a reason for me not putting out as many videos as the other guys, but whatever. I'm not here to give you my life story. You're here to talk about Ghost Recon, or hear about Ghost Recon with me, rather. Yeah, so I played the beta, which went live for everybody, last weekend. And yeah, it was an interesting experience, as you can hear from my really stupid, badly voiced and impressioned intro. Yeah, that's kind of part of the takeaway, but we'll get to that as to why. So I'm just going to give you the roundup. I don't really want to make this video super duper long. Keep everything nice and punchy. Let you guys know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Anyway, right, just to start. So, for those of you who have been living under a rock, like me, you probably haven't heard of Ghost Recon Wildlands. I assume that you've probably heard of the Ghost Recon series, but what's Wildlands about? Well, for anyone who hasn't really been following it, it's kind of taken a break for a while. They haven't been promoting it until recently. It's the latest entry, obviously, in the Ghost Recon series. It's like team-based tactical shooter, Tom Clancy franchise published by Ubisoft. There have been some very good entries over the years, and also some, you know, kind of questionable, semi-boring ones that had good ideas but never really delivered. And this is the first one they've done, I believe anyway, that is completely open world, which is unsurprising that they're doing it as Ubisoft, but actually fits the series. And I'm interested to see how they can do the campaign and stuff like this. And we got a little bit of a taste of the campaign with the story missions that were in this beta, which I'll go into. So the good points about this: it is a tactical team-based shooter that really rewards you playing in co-op. It's a brilliant game to play with friends. 4-player on this is absolutely the way to go. It's very rewarding. There's a huge amount of payoff, especially when you explore and improvise, when you're like going into infiltrating a base, taking everyone down silently, timing your shots with your teammates, using C4 on a car to set up a diversion, so all of the enemy bases are alerted to one particular area and you can sneak in and get your objective the other way whilst they're distracted, or lead them into a trap. One of the funny things I did actually do, which I don't believe is in the footage because, alas, I'm an idiot and I had OBS set to downscale my resolution from 1080 to 720, so all of the stuff I recorded with Unlucky Retro kind of went to waste. So the stuff I'll be uploading with this is all 1080p, looks really good, but it's single player, so I'm playing with AI. And yeah, like there was one good moment I had where like I set C4 on one car, set it off, and then basically jumped onto another car which had like a mounted minigun on the back. And as the entire base came running towards me, just like completely mowed them down with a minigun, which was hilarious. Not exactly a Ghost way to do things, but you can be loud as well. Like it really rewards that. There's a lot of Metal Gear Solid 5 in this game, I think, although it's not quite as slick. It rewards that kind of adaptive play. You know, you can play stealth, you can play action, you can play a combination of both. And it really pays off. It's super satisfying when you pull off like a really cool infiltration or do a really good job of like sabotage and stuff like that. There's tons of different difficulty settings. I think there's like 5 or 6, all the way from super casual, where you're basically a sponge, up to like basically one hit kill, like ghost mode and everything, with no HUD or anything to help you out. So that's really there for the hardcore Ghost Recon players who want total immersion and are having to, you know, use and make the most of all of their tools in order to survive. No minimap and everything like that. There's loads of cool gadgets like the drone, tons of customization options that you can have, like big skill trees for all of them that you can spec points into. You have to do that by getting resources around the map and stuff like that. So yeah, again, rewarding exploration in order to kind of customize and deck out your character. There's tons of cosmetic options. You know, you could create your own agent, kind of like you did in a Division, but there's more options there as well. Not everyone's wearing fucking puffer jackets, which is great. You can even wear ghillie suits, choose tattoos. It's a lot more like GTA, basically. Also, on the technical side of things, the game looks absolutely gorgeous, even on consoles. I mean, I've had the beta on the PC and the PlayStation 4, and the only real difference between the PC and the PlayStation 4, obviously the faster frame rate and everything, the refresh rate on the PC is much better, but that's because there's more horsepower underneath it. I think it runs 1080p, 30 frames per second, like the Division, but more stable on console, and it looks really good. You know, because it's such a big, vast open world, I thought there was going to be, like, when you were flying around in a helicopter, lots of graphical pop-in, problems rendering all of the trees and everything, and really there isn't. I mean, I'm sure they've taken some technical shortcuts to get there, but unless you're standing right up next to it, you don't really notice silly things like the textures and that. Dynamic weather, dynamic lighting, all of it's really good, and for it to be this technically stable, with having a great frame rate and looking good in the beta stage, you know, gives me a lot of confidence in the finished product. Especially when you consider that this is the developer that, you know, a few years ago put out Assassin's Creed Unity, which was a god-awful bag of bollocks when it came out, with people with no faces rendering in cutscenes. So it looks like they've learnt their lesson finally. So yeah, tons of really good points. Well done to Ubisoft on this. I think it's going to do really well. However, I am going to make some criticisms now, and some of them, you know, I'm going to reserve full judgment until, like, I can actually, you know, play it, or one of us plays it and reviews it. I think Teddy might want to review it if he does choose to, because he's been hyped about this game forever. I just managed to get lucky and get a key, because this was a closed beta, it wasn't open to everybody. So yeah, the minuses, there aren't really too many, but there are some glaringly big ones. It has an excellent premise, right? Loads of political, socio-political kind of stirring up things. You know, how the Santa Blanca cartel has kind of bought out the Bolivian government and the armed forces and everything, in order to stop political assassinations and stuff. They've kind of bribed their way into the seat of power in the country, you know, silently ruling it, and you're sent to go and take all this down. Yeah, so there's a cool setup, but it's undermined by really fucking dull or stupid characters. Like, I mean, I'm not even talking about your dude, right? Your protagonist, he or she is actually voiced, which is good when you compare it with the Division. You've got your own personality, and although you're kind of a grunt and it's a bit standard fare, it's better than nothing. I'm going to give them a plus for that. But the rest of the characters, like your CIA handler chick, who's been embedded in Bolivia as like an aid worker, and she wants revenge on, like, a DEA agent who was a colleague who's been murdered, and you've got to go and find these two fuckers who are basically like former Mexican doctors in Tijuana turned drug cartel specialist torturers. You've got to find those guys who are murdering them, and that's the campaign, the mini part of the campaign that's shown here. And the dialogue's fucking awful. The lip sync is, I mean, it's not like Square Enix terrible, but it's pretty bad. Yeah, the character models aren't, I mean, they're detailed, but they don't have that amazing Naughty Dog style sheen to them. But, you know, on the plus side, the loading screens aren't that long, so I guess it kind of makes up for it, really. I mean, I'd never heard the term shitfuck used as an adjective so many times in one demo. I don't even know that's a word. But yeah, whatever. That's Ubisoft dialogue, apparently. The AI is pretty dumb. I mean, we're talking both sides of the board here, the enemy and the friendly AI, which is why it's so beneficial to play as a co-op team. Mainly, obviously, because you're playing with friends and you can organise and communicate, and it's much more fun and tactical when you do that. But the kind of mark and execute system that they've brought in from Splinter Cell, where you can tag enemies with your drone and then do a synchronised kill. You shoot one dude and they shoot all the other guys that you've marked and everything to take them all down at the same time. That works fine, but like squad commands and stuff like that, there's not really a huge amount of emphasis on that. There's not a lot of options you can give them, to be honest, and they're pretty dumb. You know, they move in and out of cover in a way that would blatantly give them away, and it's only due to the fact that the enemy AI are completely blind to your friendlies. Seriously, they're like Stevie Wonder levels of blind. You'll probably see a couple of instances in the video that I'm going to upload of this, where the AI teammates just sneak like right next to them, like literally to their side, like 2 or 3 feet away, out of cover, and they're still not spotted. Like it's really, really stupid. But yeah, the AI needs a lot of work. That is something that can be patched. It's a beta. I'm going to forgive them until the actual thing comes out. Yeah, the fucking cheesy radio DJ that I've mentioned. Like, okay, right, I get the fact that ever since the GTA has come out, you have to have like an enigmatic radio host or something when it comes to your game in an open world. If you're driving around in a Jeep or something, you have to have a radio station. I get it. You know, it's the de facto standard now. But make it a local radio station, you know, with actual local people on it, right? Don't get some guy to do, you know, a fucking Mexican accent, and it is a Mexican accent because he's a Mexican character that's brought down by the cartel to be the fucking host in Bolivia, right? Don't get this guy with a Mexican accent almost as bad as mine. Apologies if he actually is Mexican or something, but it sounds like he's putting it on. Yeah, don't get him to do it. And certainly don't, you know, you're supposed to be this super, you know, illegal fucking drug cartel. You know, you're not supposed to be their cheerleader on a national fucking radio station. You know, everyone knows that the whole idea about their power is it's silent. You know, everyone knows they own the government, but they don't talk about it. You know, it's not your job to fucking go on and, you know, sing the praises of them and say, look, we're here, everybody look at us, we're drug lords. You know, no, like, I'm sorry, every time I got in a fucking vehicle in this game, every time I turned the radio off, the guy just boils my piss. Like, seriously, don't listen to the radio on it. The last problem I have, it's full of, you know, your traditional open world filler stuff. I mean, this has always been a feature in a lot of open world games, particularly Ubisoft's ones, but there are varying degrees of how well it's done. Whereas, you know, this, it's like, you know, a series of collectibles explaining how the cartel works around the map, and resources that you have to go and farm and collect in order to level up, like technical parts and fuel and things like that you need, on top of skill points which you gain for leveling up to actually spec into your skill tree. So it kind of forces you to go and find a load of shit that is annoying. That's kind of offset by the fact that they're on most of the bases and missions that you have to do, so it's best to sweep the area before you get out of there. But yeah, it has its fair share of problems, definitely, but I think the positives outweigh them at the minute, and it's nothing that can't be fixed with a patch, which is obviously a good thing. Hoping that they managed to change my mind on the story, but again, this is a beta, we've only seen a snapshot of it, we've seen like one chapter of the story, if that, and there are like 12 different provinces in this open world, and you could only go round one in this demo, and the one part was pretty big actually. To do everything on the map took me a good 3 days of separate playing sessions. So yeah, that's Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's just a sneak peek into it. If you enjoyed the video, if you want to hear more, I'll be uploading stuff as often as I can fairly soon. thanks very much for watching, guys. It's great to be back. It's good to have you back as viewers. And yeah, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, all of that shit. I'll see you later. I'm the Sofa Soldier. Take care, guys.